The New York Knicks at 38-23. 3 straight wins, 4 of the last 5 coming off the victory over Charlotte on Saturday by the score of 107-78. And the Philadelphia 76ers at 29-32. They're a game and a half in front of Miami, 2 in front of the Nets. And they come off the loss to Chicago here yesterday afternoon. We are set for the introduction of the starting lineups.
Mark Jackson. Also in the backcourt is 7th season from Tennessee, Chattanooga, 6'6", number 21, Gerald Wilkins. The center in his 7th season from Georgetown, 7 feet, number 33, Patrick Ewing. At one forward, his 7th season from Wichita State at 6'8", number 32, Xavier McDaniel. At the other forward, his 7th season from Virginia Union, 6'9", number 34, Charles Oakley. The Knicks, coached by Pat Riley, his assistants Dick Harder, Paul Silas, and Jeff Van Gundy. The trainers Mike Saunders and Tim Walsh. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineup for your Philadelphia 76ers. At one guard, in his 6th season of Duke at 6'2", number 12, Johnny Dawkins. Also in the backcourt, his 4th season from Bradley, 6'3", number 33, the Hawk, Percy Hawkins. The center in his 7th season from Iona, 6'11", number 43, Jeff Ruland. And then forward, his 5th season on the Battle Las Vegas, 6'9", number 35, the Hammer, Armand Gilliam. And at the other forward, in his 8th season of Auburn at 6'6", number 32, the captain, Charles Barkley. 76ers coached by Jim Lynam. His assistant is Fred Carter. Buzz Raymond's the shooting coach. The team trainer is Tony Harris. The officials.
Well, mixed reaction for Charles Barkley, who yesterday launched into a tirade after the game after he was told that Coach Jim Lyman did not like the shot selection on that 3-point attempt. Earlier, John talked with Coach Jim Lyman and asked if he felt that Charles owes him an apology.
No, John, I'm not into this thing. Somebody asked me today, they used the word sympathetic. I said, you know, I need no sympathy or no apology. It's, you know, as you know, this is a very emotional experience, this whole thing of professional sports. And to pretend otherwise is a mistake. And I don't think that that Charles sometimes can get embroiled in these type things, and my concern is more for him that it not become distracting for him, because even though he has a tremendous faculty of blocking things out when it comes time to play, he's human also. And by way of example, I thought all the trade talk was starting to take its tolls as we approach the trade deadline, and he's in the past been able to block that out. So that would be my only concern.
Yes, I know that Jim Lynam felt very strongly that Charles, who went into a bit of a funk period right around the trade deadline time, was affected by all the speculation.
Well, as Jim said, he is human, but nevertheless, he continues to draw negative attention, and the fans and the team do not win with Charles playing that way, or speaking out rather that way.
The problem is, and Charles is so candid, but sometimes there are things that cannot be said. It's not that he's wrong. He is often correct. I think that he is off base, certainly referring to the racial motivation that's being criticized here in Philadelphia. But Charles is not a racist. He is simply outspoken. Here's Gerald Wilkins, rebounded by Charles Barkley.
Well, incidentally, the last time played against the Knicks here in the Spectrum became the Sixers' all-time leading rebounder. But the thing about him, Marv, is that he's so lovable and so much fun if anybody spends time with him, but then he becomes very selfish and childish at the next turn.
And you get the idea that both Lynam and Barkley, that's a rejection by McDaniel, have put the incident behind them, because as you were listening to the soundbite involving Jim Lynam, saw a live shot of Charles and Jim kidding around right before the start of the game. Ewing putting the move on Ruland. And the Knicks lead it by the score of 2-0. Patrick Ewing coming off a dominating performance against Charlotte on Saturday with 20 points and 20 rebounds. Percy Hawkins picks up the double team. Shot clock at 5. Barkley. And the game is tied at 2.
And there's the reaction to Charles Barkley. He makes a shot and the fans clap. And that's the problem when you're a general manager or you own a team or you're a coach. You've got to deal with what happens on the floor. And too many good things happen when Charles Barkley is around.
This is the third of 4 meetings between these two teams. They split the previous 2, each winning at home. Gilliam getting inside, and the Sixers with a 4-2 lead. The Knicks won at the Garden back in November, 100-92, and the Sixers won here convincingly, 119-109 here in January. A lackluster Knick performance, one of their worst of the season. Charles Barkley with 37 points. Patrick Ewing sat out most of the 4th quarter. Pat Riley felt that he had the bench playing well and did not put Ewing back on the floor. That, as it turned out, preceded Ewing's best individual streak of the season.
It was a good turnaround for the Knicks after Pat Riley made a move that a lot of other coaches might not have made. Riley showing his strength and team direction by sitting Patrick Ewing, which turned into visible criticism of his play.
Loose ball foul is called. The officials are Jess Kersey, Wally Rooney, and Bill Spooner. Ewing called for the foul, his first. The Knicks have hit only 1 of their first 5 from the field. Pat Riley also felt that the Knicks doubled too frequently on Barkley, and that hurt them in the last meeting.
Well, tonight's matchup, it's not Oakley on Barkley, but Xavier McDaniel has that job.
Dawkins around Jackson. Ruland is walloped. Oakley coming over the back of Jeff Ruland. So Jeff Ruland is back in the lineup and is in the starting lineup. He missed 17 games due to a partial tear of his right Achilles tendon. It's a remarkable comeback story. He had retired after the 1986-87 season with a knee injury, but he's made his way back, and now he's the starting center. Charles Shackelford has been a major disappointment, although he is more suited for a power forward position for a time. Jason Williams was in the starting lineup. He has not played the last 4 games, 2 because of a suspension due to the fight he had with J.R. Reed, and 2 because of a coach's decision.
This is Ruland's 5th start in the 13 games he has played with the Sixers this year. 16 minutes a game, nothing dramatic happening numerically, but it's his physical presence inside that's valuable.
Ewing drawing the double team, and a foul is called.
I think it's amazing after a 5-year lapse in professional play that Jeff Ruland is out here now. It's a tribute to the medical staff that got involved with Jeff Ruland and found a way to make that leg healthy again. It is remarkable.
Ruland was called for that foul on Ewing. McDaniel tipped home. No, he from my angle, John, it looked like Charles put it home, but he did not. And Armin Gilliam now is called for a charge.
He's on his way to a technical after that reaction.
His first personal foul.
So Gilliam called for the personal. 76ers 6 in the Knicks 2. 3.5 gone by in the first.
Marv, I just realized the teams are on the opposite side of the court from
good observation.
Prior visits. Xavier McDaniel hitting.
That's right. You missed the last game here. I know you had some very busy personal business, and Walt Clyde Frazier filled in and did a sensational job. But here you are back with us.
As expected. It looked funny. I saw Pat Riley on the other side. I thought, my goodness, Pat bought a ticket tonight.
Barkley. And Ewing getting the inside position, pegging one high and far off the knee of the photographer.
That's what we call a turnover. Have the ball 1 minute, and the next second you give it to the other team.
The 76ers have sold the tickets on the near side of the court. The benches used to be located there. That's a goaltender basket count. So Johnny Dawkins receives credit.
Johnny Dawkins is left-handed. That means to a lot of people a player like that only goes left. Well, Lenny Wilkins went to the Hall of Fame being left-handed and totally left-handed, but Dawkins surprised Jackson with that move.
Ewing.
See, Ewing instinctively knows that there's no way Jeff Ruland is going to block his jump shot. Ruland at 6'11" has the height, but he doesn't have the leg strength to get up there.
76ers lead it by the score of 8-6. Barkley directing traffic as he backs in on McDaniel, and Ewing got a piece of it.
That's another awful part of his play sometimes. When he finally got the shot, there were 6 seconds left on the clock.
Gilliam switching off on Wilkins. Here's Ewing from Jackson. It counts and a foul. Patrick Ewing will go to the line. But first, a timeout is called by the Sixers.
Second, the team's second.
March gears up for another month of big-time sports action on MSG Network. The New York Rangers look to keep pace with the NHL's best. They battle the Montreal Canadiens, the New Jersey Devils, and the rival New York Islanders. The New York Knicks are hanging tough with some rough NBA competition. They face the Denver Nuggets, the Portland Trailblazers, plus Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls. March means the return of New York Yankees baseball. Catch the 92 Bombers as they take on the Montreal Expos, the Atlanta Braves, and the New York Mets in spring training action. College basketball hits tournament time with the start of March Madness. Catch heated matchups from across the country featuring the Big 8, Atlantic 10, Southwest, and Big East conferences. See more of all the hitting and fast-paced action from one of the hottest sports in the country. It's the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Plus, you can always catch the latest sports news, highlights, and local scholastic sports coverage with MSG Sports Desk. March is a spring thing with red-hot sports action on MSG Network, the best in the game.
In 1985, Glenarden, Maryland had one of the highest crime rates in the nation. Most crimes occurred after 10 p.m. by kids under the age of 21. That's when Van Standifer decided to fight back. He started a midnight basketball league. It reduced crime by 60%, gave kids something better to do with their time and new meaning to Van Standifers. To learn what you can do in your community, call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
The ups and downs of a basketball season brings the Knicks to Philadelphia tonight feeling very good about themselves. And that's based on their 3-game homestand recently concluded that featured Dallas, an improved Clippers team, and a hot Charlotte Hornets team. The Knicks outscoring their opponents dramatically, 19 points. They're shooting so much better than their opponents, and they're killing people on the boards as they did to Charlotte while getting the 1,000th home victory for the New York Knicks in their 46-year history.
Patrick Ewing to the line, looking to complete the three-point play. Charles Shackelford has come on for Jeff Ruland, who had committed the foul to put Ewing at the line. Ruland with his second, so Shackelford is on the floor. Up front with Gilliam and Barkley, Dawkins, and Hawkins in the backcourt.
See Charles's teammates run away when he gets the ball. 2 men come on him, and that doesn't stop him from drawing the foul.
Personal foul, Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing called for his second.
What strength Barkley advertises. Even when the second man comes over to guard him, that doesn't stop him at all. In fact, he seems to relish the challenge of beating 2 people with a fake and the body strength to move forward.
Charles has been off at the free throw line this year at 70%. Game is tied at 9. You mentioned the 1,000th regular season home win for the Knicks in their 46-year history, picked up with the victory over Charlotte on Saturday. The Knicks with their very first home victory November 16th, 1946 over the Pittsburgh Ironmen. They did it in overtime, 64-62. And on the bucket by Jackson, the Knicks lead by 1. That game took place at the 69th Regiment Armory in Manhattan. And Ralph Kaplowitz, the darling of the Garden crowd Saturday during the Legends game, by sinking a foul shot at age 72, scored 14 points in that very first Knicks home victory. Barkley to the line once again. McDaniel called for the foul. Yes, it was a night for records on Saturday with that rebounding effort by the Knicks. 78 points allowed, the Knicks team low for 91-92. But Ralph Kaplowitz with a 14-point performance in that inaugural home win. He and Ozzie Sheckman tied for team high scoring honors. And Ralph in action along with yourself and many other former Knicks and former NBA standouts on Saturday night.
How about Big Dave DeBusschere with 2 long jump shots, 1 of 3 no less. Tell you, I bet that's the first time in NBA history that a man got an MVP award for a game by scoring 4 points.
Yes.
Dave, I hope you're listening.
Dave did not give the trophy back, though, did he?
No, he grabbed it. I told him all he had to do was carve his name in there to really make it personal, because there wasn't time for the Knicks staff to do that.
McDaniel was out of bounds, came from out of bounds, and the basket does not count. Wally Rooney was right there at the baseline.
Marv, I can't tell you how thrilling it was to see Ralph Kaplowitz go out there and, after Red Auerbach drew his usual technical foul, to go out and hit that two-handed technical foul shot.
A pretty left-hand drive by Dawkins. Sixers 14 and the Knicks 11. 5 minutes to go in this first quarter. McDaniel, yes. Xavier with 4, and the Knicks trail by 1.
Charles taking a high pick opportunity to rock his pal, Mark Jackson.
Shackelford from Barkley. It counts. And the foul. A pretty lob pass tossed by Charles Barkley.
Well, Charles sees the mismatch with Shackelford being guarded by Mason and no help behind. Nice pass by Charles Barkley, who has till this moment been the offense for this team pretty much.
Charles Shackelford played 2 years with the New Jersey Nets, a second-round pick of the Nets. Then it was on to Europe. He averaged 21 a game in the Italian League. Both Philadelphia and Detroit were interested in Shackelford. Wilkins with a nice move, and then through the air ball. Here comes Dawkins. Rebounded by Gilliam. And it will be Sixer ball. Wilkins and Oakley battling with each other. Miscommunication there, and Philadelphia maintains possession.
Well, the presence of Charles Barkley made everybody work extra hard, and they actually turned out competing with each other. But Barkley's presence had something to do with that.
John Starks replacing Gerald Wilkins. Again, a pretty pass. Barkley combining with Shackelford. Sixers lead 19-13, and the Knicks take a timeout with 4:13 remaining in the first quarter.
More winners. Better odds. Introducing Take 5.
Wake up, Leon.
The new game from the New York Lottery.
We are going shopping.
So Take 5 and play Take 5, but be careful. There's a very good chance you'll win.
Foot Locker asks Mike Powell, how far can you take it?
29, 4 and a half.
Powell shatters a 20-year-old world record.
From downtown.
Mike Powell hits it. Foot Locker slam pass.
Foot Locker gives you the start.
How far?
The rest is up to you.
All the way to Barcelona.
Foot Locker.
How far can you take it?
Nobody Beats the Whiz takes a bite out of the recession. With our spectacular recession-proof coupons, we've reduced prices on thousands of items in every Nobody Beats the Whiz store. Earn huge discounts on TVs, camcorders, cellular phones, rack systems, cameras, music, movies, and the list goes on and on. Just pick up a circular at any Whiz store and save money now with our recession-proof coupons. Nobody beats the Whiz.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by Snapple Natural Beverages, made from the best stuff on earth.
Back at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, Marv Albert with John Andres. 4:13 remaining in this opening quarter, and the 76ers with a 19-13 lead, a 9-2 run, leading to the 6-point advantage. Anthony Mason has come on for the first time. Mason is up front, along with McDaniel and Oakley. Ewing sitting down. Jackson and Starks in the backcourt. Shot clock is at 3. Here's Starks with the open shot. Yes. And the Knicks now trail 19-15.
John did not lose his poise as the seconds ticked away.
76ers remaining the same following the timeout, and Shackelford looking for position against Mason. The foul is called on Anthony Mason.
Shackelford is 6'11". Major problem for Mason because he's pretty strong up top too. And Shackelford's numbers in the last several games, Marv, have picked up. And Jim Lynam pointed out to me before the game, that's simply because he's coming in off the bench now, generally facing a second-team player. So he has an advantage now, more so than he did as a starter when he's playing the best center of every team. And the advantage is showing now. He's a bit of a problem with Ewing out.
Charles Shackelford, a 74% free throw shooter. Ron Anderson checking in, replacing Charles Barkley. Barkley leaves with 6. And now a change. Barkley remains. It is Barkley up front with Shackelford and Anderson. Armin Gilliam sitting down. Hawkins and Dawkins in the backcourt.
Shackelford had limited time yesterday against Chicago, and that disappointing for the Sixers loss. Played only 15 minutes due to 5 personal fouls.
Sixers shot 51% yesterday against the Bulls, but had their problems in the fourth quarter. Only 4 for 13. Mason sitting down after picking up his second foul. Kiki Vandeweghe has come on.
The story was Michael Jordan went to work on defense, which had to spark, as it usually does, his teammates. When the #1 man plays defense like Jordan does, everybody else gets into it. Percy Hawkins couldn't get his hands on the ball because of Jordan's presence.
The Knicks down by 4. 3:25 remaining in the first quarter. Vandeweghe, yes. So Kiki Vandeweghe off the bench and hits on his first field goal attempt. Sixers 19, the Knicks 17.
Nice adjustment by McDaniel, who at the end of the move found the best thing to do is pass the ball.
Percy Hawkins with a nice looking stroke for his first field goal. Percy's numbers have been down this season, coming off an all-star year. Last year averaged 22 a game. Four-point lead for the Sixers. McDaniel rebounded by Shackelford. Sixers on the run. Anderson.
Hey, watch my back.
Vandeweghe got the step. Oh, beautifully done. was able to get the step on Barkley and then hit with a nice-looking running hook.
He had the intention of making a layup out of it, but how beautifully done, how he adjusted to that soft hook.
Sixers lead by 2 as we come up on 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Barkley took the shove.
The other end, Kiki Vandeweghe in off the bench, delivering immediately with the jump shot. Sails around Barkley. Help comes over, and he changes it to a hook shot.
Mark Jackson sits down. He was called for that foul. Greg Anthony has checked in. And one-time New York Knick Greg Grant has come on.
Grant's done some interesting things 2 of the last 3 games. 8 points, 6 assists against Dallas last Friday, 6 points, 5 assists in their prior game against Atlanta. Those are big numbers for a guy who gets very little time, showing he belongs here. Grant has played 14 minutes a game for the Sixers.
Yes, they're satisfied with his play. He began the season with Charlotte, was dropped, picked up by the Sixers, and he has emerged as the backup point guard. Starks. So John Starks has hit 2 out of 2, and the 76ers now lead 22-21 with 1:45 to go in this first quarter. Here's Barkley.
Well, he walked before he went up for the shot. I mean, he took a nice skip step.
Charles getting in position for the lob, though, as he was being fronted by Xavier McDaniel, and then may have traveled after he made the catch. Sixers lead by 3. Vandeweghe. Rebound Oakley, and he takes it to the hoop. The Knicks now down by 1. Grant and Hawkins in the backcourt. Anderson, Shackelford, Barkley up front. Oakley with the interception. Here comes Greg Anthony. Accelerating and fouled by Grant. He beat Grant off the dribble, and then Greg Grant called for the reach-in. Greg Grant goes 5'7", 140 pounds, out of Trenton State, originally drafted by the Phoenix Suns on the 2nd round. Played a year with Phoenix, last season with the Knicks.
Nice to see a guy like Greg Grant sticking and becoming valuable, because he's had to work very hard to get respect of coaching staffs as he's moved from team to team, and it's so hard to do when you know you're going to get very little time. But he's making something out of his career now in the NBA, that's for sure.
The Knicks have taken a 25-24 lead. 1 minute remaining in the first. For the Sixers, it is game number 3 of a 6-game homestand. And it's Barkley getting in position. He now has 11. Sixers lead by 1. Busy stretch for the Knicks. They're back home tomorrow to face the Los Angeles Lakers.
Both these games tonight and tomorrow represent quite a challenge, as McDaniel gets a nice quick return pass from Kiki Vandeweghe and goes right up for the shot. But the Knicks were embarrassed here on January 22nd, 10-point loss. But as you remember, Marv, it was worse than that. Tomorrow night, the Lakers at New York, of course, with game night starting at 7:30 and the game at 8 p.m.
A lot of motivation out there for Pat Riley. He can point back at the last meeting between the Knicks and the Sixers here back in January. An awful effort by the Knicks. And as you indicate, the score did not tell the story. The score did tell the story in the last meeting with the Lakers a week and a half ago in L.A. when the Knicks were beaten 81-68. That a low point for the season. So Pat has a lot to work with, you might say. And then the Nets coming up at the Garden on Saturday, and the Knicks with that 90-75 loss.
Revenge week.
Yes. Here's Hawkins with a nice spinning move. 5 seconds to go in the first quarter. Philadelphia leads by 1. McDaniel able to get off a good shot. After one quarter, the 76ers lead the Knicks 28-27.
Pass over Mark Jackson. That's the height advantage.
Nice play by Wilkins. The look away from Jackson. McDaniel. And the Knicks have taken the lead.
If you're into looking good, get into Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up, never let you down.
Everything else is just a light. Everything else is just a light. Everything else is just a light. Everything else.
I wear the pump cross trainer because I like a secure fit. Life is short. Play hard. Reebok.
Every inch of the Lexus coupe was designed to exhilarate you. Even when you're not moving.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by your Tri-State Toyota dealers. I love what you do for me, Toyota. And by Reebok, who reminds you that life is short. Play hard.
Our Toyota matchup features a very key duel tonight between Charles Barkley and Xavier McDaniel. Last time they met, Charles Barkley had 37 points and 14 rebounds. Here he dances his way to the hoop for an easy basket underneath and for his last one. And right now he's off to a quick start. He's shaking off the blues of yesterday with 11 points here in the first quarter. X-Man trailing him with 6.
And Charles getting a rest. He'll sit down. Always appears to be enjoying himself.
Well, he can forget yesterday. I mean, he has that wonderful ability to erase.
Well, it's a long season, and you have to wipe that out. I know a couple of the reporters here in Philadelphia made the point that Charles has missed 43 of his last 52 from three-point range, and still took that three-point shot early into the shot clock. What is going on with Charles Shackelford? He has erupted. He has 7 points. He came out early for Jeff Rulin after Rulin picked up the 2 fouls. Shackelford 3 for 3 from the field.
Thought Riley's had enough of that as Ewing gets ready to check back in.
Anthony attempting the three-pointer. Oakley with a good hustle move and then able to find McDaniel. Nice play. So the Knicks trail 30-29 as we get started in the second quarter. Anderson beating Vandeweghe. Vandeweghe gambled, went for the steal. So Anderson provides the Sixers with a three-point lead. Setting the Knick lineup, it's Anthony with Starks in the backcourt, Oakley, McDaniel, and Vandeweghe up front. Anthony with the spin. Yes. Nice move by Greg Anthony. Sixers lead by 1. Good ball movement. And Gilliam able to get the roll. Hawkins with the look found Gilliam. Sixers by 3. The pace quickening here in the second. Offensive foul on Starks.
Percy Hawkins playing good defense. Knicks have to be careful now. The Sixers, although playing a tough game yesterday, are moving that ball up court quickly, so the Knicks transition defense is being threatened as it was on their last hoop.
Patrick Ewing returning. Anthony Mason is back on the floor. Sixers 10 for 18 from the field in the first quarter. Knicks 11 for 20. They went 1 for 6, but then turned it. Grant getting it up over Ewing, who did not want to pick up number 3. Greg Grant is shaken up. And a 20-second timeout. has been called.
Seemed to be holding the left ankle.
What a terrific move, though, by Grant. Here it is.
See, Anthony was helping out a second before that, ran over to Grant, so he had momentum forward, and Grant seized that opportunity to go right by him.
The 22nd timeout was just waived. Grant said he's all right, but he'll be replaced. Johnny Dawkins checking back in, and Greg Grant limping off.
No way he wants to leave, even though he's hurting. He wanted to stay out there because he values any playing time he can get.
After the slow start by the Knicks in the first quarter, hitting one of their first 6, they connected on 10 of 14 after that. But the Sixers lead at 36-31. 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Ewing. Yes, and it counts. Shackelford called for the foul. Patrick Ewing will go to the line.
Well, reality has come back to haunt Charles Shackelford. He's been feasting on Mason and Oakley for his few moments out there when Ewing wasn't in. Patrick comes right back in and presents a very difficult shot to stop.
Ewing has hit 4 out of 4 from the field. He has 10 points, and the Sixers lead it 36-34. Johnny Dawkins and Hersey Hawkins in the backcourt. Up front, Charles Shackelford, Armand Gilliam, and Ron Anderson. Away from the ball, Jess Kersey with the call against the Knicks. It is a hold on Starks.
Greg Grant, benefiting from the double team on Hawkins, goes sailing around his man Anthony, then sees Patrick Ewing come running over, and he adjusts his shot beautifully.
Anderson. Sixers lead by 4. Greg Grant went back to the 76er locker room. Looked like an ankle. Oh, nice move by Anthony. And Anthony has come out strong offensively. He has 6 points. Sixers lead it 38-36. Anderson. And let's see, the call is an offensive foul. It's a charge on Anderson.
Nice move by Anderson. Patrick Ewing's shot blocking attempt there blocks out that foul created by Anderson.
Sixers by 2. Ewing, yes. And the game is tied at 38. Ewing is on fire. He has 12 points. He's hit all 5 of his field goal attempts. 3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Crowd of about 14,000 here at the Spectrum. They average 14 for the season. Capacity is a shade over 18.
So it's an average crowd, huh?
Average crowd. Very nicely captured, John. Here's Vandeweghe. Mitchell Wiggins has checked in for the first time. Vandeweghe nearly picked it off. Good hustle. It will be Sixer ball. Here's Jeff Rulin back, replacing Charles Shackelford, who played well. Leads with 7 points. Rulin started, went out early after picking up 2 fouls. Vandeweghe is matched up with Wiggins. Gilliam played by Mason. Shot clock at 5. Down to 3. Dawkins. Rebound Wiggins. And a holding foul is called. It is on Mitchell Wiggins.
76ers third team foul.
So the Sixers with their 13th foul. Game is tied at 38. Ewing. Patrick Ewing with his first miss. Anderson just did get a piece of the glass. Last touch by the Knicks. '76ers led by as many as 6 It's been close throughout. The Knicks briefly had a 2-point lead. Gilliam shaking off Mason. And a double dribble is called on Anthony. Tried to pull up, changed his mind, and lost it.
As he was driving up court, one option passed on the right. Then he saw Vanderway get a step, and he thought he could get it to him. Then he realized he couldn't, all in a split second, and turned it over.
The 76ers calling for a timeout.
She doesn't want to go back to work for a while. She likes staying home with the baby.
How old's the baby now?
She's 2 months old tomorrow.
Back at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, Marv Albert, John Andres, 7:25 remaining in the second quarter, and the Knicks and the 76ers tied at 38. Both clubs shooting well in this first half. Charles Barkley has returned. He's being guarded now by Anthony Mason. Here's Barkley off the double pump. So Barkley with 13 to lead the Sixers. Ewing's the high man for the Knicks with 12. Patrick Ewing has hit 5 out of 6 from the field. The Knicks down by 2. Anthony and Starks in the backcourt. Ewing with Vanderway and Mason up front. Here's Vanderway, and he's fouled. Rulin hitting the deck, called for his 3rd foul.
Well, Rulin did the right thing by trying to cut off the baseline drive, but he didn't get there quickly enough. Barkley picked up by Ewing. Gets a little hug.
Crowd reacting as Manute Bol makes his way toward the scorer's table. Manute did not play yesterday against Chicago. And he's replaced Jeff Rulin, so Jim Lynam has gone 3 deep at the center position, with Rulin and Shackelford picking up fouls. A report on Greg Grant, ankle sprain, but he should return. Greg is back on the Sixer bench. Gilliam backing Ewing. Wiggins. Rebound Bol.
He hasn't taken a shot 8 out of the last 9 games. He's not about to do it here.
Gilliam lost his balance. And a foul is called. It is on Gilliam.
Personal foul, Armin Gilliam. His second.
That's 2 on Gilliam.
Bol's playing time has gone down a lot in the last several weeks, although he's averaging 18 minutes a game, which is still enough to propel him to the 4th leading shot blocker in the NBA.
Jim Lynam's philosophy regarding Manute Bol has been, against certain clubs he will not play him. Depends on the situation. Sixers over the limit, so Starks to the line, and the game is tied at 40. Remember when Manute was with Golden State and be firing away occasionally from 3-point range? That ended here in Philadelphia. He is not being encouraged to show his long-range prowess.
Saw an interview with him the other day where he stated he's not taking those threes anymore.
Anthony off the steal has Starks. The Knicks lead 43-40. 8 points for Starks.
Anthony and Starks, as they have been matched together most of the season, combined beautifully to cause that turnover.
And Anthony has been roaming, helped with the double team on Barkley. Fires one down to Mason. Good save by Anthony Mason.
Mason has very good hands.
5.5 remaining in this first half.
Why are they doubling Mason?
And it allows Anthony to hit the open jumper. Greg Anthony has played very well. He has 8 points.
That was an ill-advised double by Barkley.
And ill-advised, you like that phrase from Jim Lynam. 22nd timeout is called by the 76ers. The Knicks have their biggest lead. They lead at 45-40 with 5:15 to go in this first half. This program is authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication or rebroadcast or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated is prohibited.
Well, Knicks moving the ball patiently. Anthony doing a nice job. Starks gets it inside, draws the double team from Barkley. Greg Anthony has time, and he makes the most of it with that jump shot.
So the Knicks with an 11-2 run, and they are now in front by 5. Percy Hawkins back for the 76ers. The Knicks bench has done the job. They have hit 8 of 11 from the field. Gilliam with the open shot. That is the combination of Starks, Anthony, and Vandeweghe, who have combined for the 8 of 11, and Mason will go to the foul line.
One of the many things Anthony Mason has to do in his offensive game is get the feeling in those opportunity situations like he just had for taking layups, and not try to stuff every ball. When you stuff it, you're leaving. There's no body help. There's no body protection. You're reaching up with your hands, and tall people in this league can get up just as high as he can to stop the shot attempt. But if the body's in the way and the layup attempt is made with the body protection, then you have a good chance of making the shot as well as drawing the foul.
Mason fouled by Barkley, his first of the game. The Knicks lead it 46-40, just under 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Now the matchup is Mason and Barkley. They isolate Barkley. Ewing over to help. Dawkins. Sixers have gone cold here in the second quarter, and occasionally we are seeing the Knicks go to the double team on Barkley.
They try and mix it up sometimes so the player doesn't get used to what's happening, and Patrick Ewing flashes that pretty jump shot over Manute Bol.
14 for Ewing, 6 for 7 from the field for Patrick Ewing. An impressive run by the Knicks. They lead by 8. 76ers take a timeout. Wilkins with the step. Stark pushes it up the floor for Ewing. Wilkins with the step. Starks over. His lead. Mason. Here's Anthony. Left to the left. Wilkins driving, sees some space, and Oakley. Good movement without the ball. Shot clock is down to 8. McDaniel with the step off.
The Knicks are back home to battle the LA Lakers after game night tomorrow at 7:30 here on MSG Network.
New York Yankees baseball is back on MSG with hard-nosed manager Buck Showalter and key off-season additions featuring slugger Danny Tartable. The Yanks look to forge a contender around the cast of Mattingly, Kelly, Barfield, Noakes, Moss, and Hall. Be there in sunny Florida for Yankees spring training action on MSG. The Yankees head to West Palm Beach to take on the Montreal Expos after scorecard March 29th at 12:30 here on MSG Network.
Smith ahead to Evans. Holy Toledo, what a play! Evans to Smith.
To Matthews. To Butler. Whoa, what a shot! Sam with a steal. Oh, hold on. Turnover. Here we go. Woo! Ice the case. Right, the crowd has a Lou and now a Luke.
It's the Big East Conference Tournament doubleheader live from the Garden beginning Thursday night at 7 here on MSG Network.
Won't be long. We'll be talking about playoffs, and here's a chance to participate in the playoffs if you're not a season ticket subscriber right now for the Knicks. Place a deposit rather in a 1992-93 season ticket, and the Knicks will guarantee you the same seat for this year's playoffs. To order, just call the Knicks season subscription representative at 212-465-JUMP.
Well, the New York Knicks with an 8-point lead in the midst of an excellent spurt. They're shooting 73% from the field here in the second quarter. Philadelphia hit their first 5 field goal attempts, but they're 1 for the last 11 since then. Vandeweghe with an open 3. Yes. And the Knicks lead at 51-40. Kiki Vandeweghe has 8. The bench continues to do the job.
Nice response by Ewing to the crushing defenders around him by finding and getting the ball to Vandeweghe.
Once again, the double team on Barkley. A 13-0 run. So that comes to a halt. Armin Gilliam cuts it to a 9-point Knick lead. Here's Anthony. Wild shot by Anthony, rebounded by Bowl. Anthony Mason pleading his case, claiming that he deflected it off Dawkins. Shackelford and Anderson now return. Jim Lynam needs offense, so Bowl will sit down. Gilliam also to the bench. It is Barkley up front now with Anderson and Shackelford. Dawkins and Hawkins at the guards. 3 minutes remaining in the second. Percy Hawkins played very well by John Starks. Shackelford on the rebound. He's had the touch. 9 points for Shackelford. The Knicks lead 51-44. Shackelford has hit on 4 out of 4. With a victory tonight, the Knicks can equal their win total of all of last season. Patrick Ewing with 16, and the Knicks now lead by 9. Knicks won only 39 games last year. They come into tonight with a record of 38-23. Mason chest to chest with Barkley and called for the foul. It's a block.
At the All-Star game this year, we had a chance to talk to Charles about Anthony Mason. Charles is in the stratosphere of superstars, and I wondered if he was going to say, I'm not even aware of him, you know, but not the case. He had great things to say about Mason, his speed getting up court, his strength, and he had very positive reaction to the name of Anthony Mason.
Mason picked up his 3rd, and he sits down. Oakley and McDaniel back on the floor. The Knicks lead it by 9. And the Knicks now are going to the double team on Barkley, so they have changed up. Here's Anderson. And the poor Sixer shooting continues in the second quarter. Knicks now have Jackson and Starks at the guards with the starting front line. Greg Anthony with an excellent effort here in the second. Ewing with the fake. And Patrick Ewing to the foul line.
Also in that conversation with Barkley about Mason, he threw in a little extra by saying, where did the Knicks find these guys? Guys like Starks and Mason seem to be somewhat envious. Charles always has felt, I believe, that he hasn't gotten enough support around him here in Philadelphia.
Well, the man getting the credit for finding the skills of Anthony Mason or recognizing the skills, Fuzzy Levain, who had been checking him out, and Ernie Grunfeld also liked Anthony Mason. They saw something because Anthony had previous chances with the Nets, with Denver, never really got the opportunity, played in the CBA, and he has been a significant addition.
Well, it usually takes more than one person also to participate in these personnel decisions. Dick McGuire and Ernie Grunfeld all got together and joined in on that decision.
Patrick Ewing with a tremendous first half. 18 points for Patrick, and the Knicks now lead 55-44. We mentioned the Knicks back home tomorrow night facing the Lakers. Saturday they're home for the Nets, and it will be Dick McGuire night at the Garden. Loose ball foul on Shackelford. That's his 3rd foul.
Charles Shackelford, his 3rd personal foul.
Saturday night they will retire uniform number 15. I know Dick is feverishly working on his speech.
It was so nice to read in that feature story in the Daily News on Sunday how Bob Cousy is was so supportive of Dick McGuire. You know, you often think of players who retired when they were competing against each other. Did they respect each other? Did they think that some people think that Dick McGuire was in the class of Cousy, who got so much attention through his great career? And nice to get the stamp of approval in a very big way from one of the all-time greats, Bob Cousy.
Well, as Cousy mentioned, and everyone who has been close to basketball is well aware, he is one of the wonderful guys in the game of basketball. Just so well liked back from his playing days. Lane violation is called. Coaching days with the Knicks and Detroit. And he has been handling the scouting duties ever since he traded jobs with Red Holzman. Red, you'll recall, was the chief scout. Red, your new favorite coach.
Oh,
inserted you into the lineup.
It's the greatest.
Gave you a lot of confidence, I'm told. He saw something we have not seen.
Marvy took a gamble. Good coaches know how to do that and get good results.
I think it was Selma Holtzman who you charmed, and she said to Red, you got to play this guy. It'll be very sad if he sits. 45 seconds remaining in this first half. Mark Jackson extends the Knick lead to 58-44. A dominating second quarter by the Knicks. Here's Hawkins giving it up. Anderson with the open shot. And Ewing on the rebound. 76er shooting here in the second quarter has gone the other way, while the Knicks have been thriving. And the Knicks will hold for a final shot. They lead by 14. Ewing had it knocked away, but the foul is called. Anderson called for the foul. The Knicks a spirited group with his effort here in the second. Coming up at halftime, Bob Page at the MSG Sports Desk. The Knicks and the Sixers, the only NBA game going tonight. Knicks come in 3 games over Boston. Celtics beat Orlando last night. Boston has won 4 in a row. Here's Greg Anthony making his return. I mentioned the poor shooting by the Sixers. They began the quarter hitting their first 5 shots. Since then, 3 for 16, so they're 8 for 21, while the Knicks going at a blistering pace. They've hit 11 of 16 here in the second quarter. And we are down to 5 seconds remaining. Jackson with the foul to give, called for the reach-in on Dawkins. That is just to bust the pattern. Now the Sixers have to inbound. 4 and 3/10 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Knicks up by 15. Here's Gilliam looking around for Barkley and has to hoist from 3-point land. That was not what Jim Lynam intended. So at the half, it's the Knicks 59 and the Sixers 44. We'll be back in just a moment.
Flecky Bond.
The Knicks with a couple of good runs of the second quarter. At one point, 13 unanswered, a 21-4 spurt, and they lead by 15 at halftime. Let's go to Bob Page at the MSG Sports Desk.
Thank you, Marv. Good evening, everybody. The Knicks Philadelphia game is the only one scheduled in the NBA tonight. The Nets continue their West Coast nightmare tomorrow evening in Oakland against the Golden State Warriors. New Jersey has lost the first 3 games of this Western trip. Another pop-off from Charles Barkley. Did you see the end of the Sixers' nationally televised loss to Chicago yesterday afternoon? Well, with Philly down 3 and plenty of time left, Barkley heaves up that long 3-pointer. He misses, leaving Philly media people criticizing his shot selection.
I may be the only player in the world who can get 30 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, and take 1 shot, and that's all anybody remember. And that really disappoints me, and I'm sick and tired of being criticized by the media. You know, I'm sick and tired of it. I think that was, I'm just tired. It's been a bad year team-wise. But, you know, if I go out and play 45 minutes, score 30 points, get 14 rebounds and 8 assists, and I miss one shot, that shouldn't be the focal point of the whole day. We played a hell of a game. We just lost, and I'm just sick and tired of being criticized.
One other note in the NBA, the Clippers have activated guard Doc Rivers from the injured list, and to make room for him, they have waived New Haven product Theron Mays. In college basketball tonight at Albany, the championship of the MAC tournament, guaranteed NCAA berth on the line. Regular season champ Manhattan is leading LaSalle 44-38 in the second half. In the Atlantic 10 tournament semifinals at Philadelphia, Temple has just reeled off 11 straight points, gone ahead of West Virginia 41-40 in the second half. Hofstra plays Towson State later tonight for the East Coast Conference Tournament Championship, but no guaranteed NCAA berth there. And Jim O'Brien has signed a new multi-year contract to remain on as Boston College head coach. In hockey, Rangers always have trouble with the Washington Capitals, and tonight is no exception. Here at the Garden, the game being seen live over our regular MSG service, Caps lead the Rangers 2-0 early in the second period. Roger Nielsen and the Rangers have already lost the season series to Washington. After Ranger killer John Druce had opened the scoring in the first period, Washington's Michael Pavanka feeds Dale Hunter. He gets it to Dmitry Kristich, who scores on the power play to make it 2-0 for Washington. And talks have now broken off in the NHL labor negotiations over at the Plaza Hotel. No new discussions are even set on a contract for the Players Association, which is threatening to strike before the start of the playoffs in April. I'll have more right after this.
Sports Desk is brought to you by Dutch Boy, the official paint sponsor of the NBA. Available at Home Depot.
Another Home Depot certified advantage. Free design service. Home Depot has a brand new design center where professionals give you decorating advice. From coordinating color.
Back at the Spectrum, the Knicks over the 76ers by the score of 59-44. Look at the leading scorers, brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers, Advantage Jeep and Eagle. Patrick Ewing has had a magnificent first half, 7 for 8 from the field, 6 for 7 from the line for 20 points. And then 8 apiece for McDaniel, Starks, Anthony, and Vandeweghe. As you can see, the bench has done very well. And the 76ers led by Charles Barkley, although he was quiet in the second quarter, 11 of his 13 in the first quarter. Surprising offensive performance by Charles Shackelford, 9 points off the bench. Now look at some of the halftime highlights, which are brought to you by Minolta, creators of the world's most responsive SLR cameras, the new Maxim XI series.
Well, it took Patrick Ewing 2 halves in the last Knicks game to get 20 points here in the first half. He does it with some slick inside work after that nice lead pass from Greg Anthony. Patrick also under pressure, and he draws pressure all the time, finds a wide open Kiki Vandeweghe cross-court pass. Vandeweghe off the bench, red hot right away. First quarter, Charles Barkley got position many times inside. Xavier McDaniel, no one else could stop Charles inside in that first quarter when he had 11 points. Another man off the bench who proved valuable to the Sixers. He's been starting much of the season, but off the bench he's matched up with smaller people. And no way Xavier McDaniel could bother Shackelford on that lovely hook shot.
The Knicks lead it by 15 as we head to the third quarter. Down to 8. McDaniel with the step off. Back at the Spectrum, the Knicks with a 15-point lead on the 76ers. The Knicks hit 21 of their last 29 in the first half. Philly ended hitting only 3 of 17, and the Knicks, as a result, shooting 63% for the half. Philly only at 43%, of the Knicks once again with an edge off the boards.
And how about the Knicks shooting more foul shots than their opposition? That's an infrequent situation.
And Charles Barkley involved in yet another explosion, coming off the statement from Jim Lynam yesterday that 3-point field goal attempt against Chicago with 22 seconds remaining was ill-advised, and then Charles Barkley lashed out, said everything I do is wrong here. I'm sick of everyone being on me, sick of it. This is a new breed of black. We do what we want to do. Said the Philadelphia sports writers have been on me all year. I'm just sick of them whining and complaining like I'm the problem on this team. We talked about it with Philadelphia assistant coach Fred Carter prior to the game. John talked with Fred, or as he is affectionately known as
Mad Dog.
Yes.
Or Doggy.
Right. And we asked Mad Dog for his reaction.
Well, actually, it doesn't create a problem at all. And people on the outside looking in would tend to believe that, well, it's chaotic, it creates a problem. No, it does not. I think the players handle it well, the coaching staff, we handle it well. And, you know, Charlie is a magnet. He attracts a lot of things, and he says a lot of things. But as far as the team is concerned, no, there's no effect whatsoever.
Well, it appeared that Charles Barkley and Jim Lynam were getting along very well prior to the game, and you get the idea that they are so accustomed to these volatile moments involving Charles Barkley that it's just another day at the office.
Well, it's also a question of Fred Carter being a very protective coach, as is Jim Lynam. Is that believable in view of all these sparks that Charles creates?
Well, they have been through this on a number of occasions. Charles made the point, well, why don't you trade me? Said that after the game yesterday. Well, the NBA trade deadline has passed. Perhaps if he were in the National Hockey League, the trade deadline, John, is tomorrow at 3 p.m. But I can see something occurring after this season. There were a couple of trades on the table right before the trade deadline.
You know, the funny part of it is Larry Brown was rumored to have a big trade lined up, Larry, with the Clippers. And I would think Charles scares many coaches, prospective coaches of other teams, because you really take on a very strong personality when you have him on your team.
Third quarter underway. Here's Jackson around Hawkins, and the Knicks now lead at 61-44. 6 points for Mark Jackson. Minute gone by in the third. Knicks have their biggest lead of the night. Oakley with the save, and a beauty. Here's Jackson going. No, he gives it up. Wilkins from Jackson. And the Sixers call for time. What a pass from Mark Jackson. The Knicks now lead at 63-44.
What makes a great St. Patrick's Day? Well, you have to wear green, naturally. And you'll need some real Irish music. Toss in a few friends, someplace fun to celebrate. And you just can't forget the Budweiser. Why? It's the official beer of Ireland. Kathy Ireland. Celebrate safely this St. Patrick's Day. If you drink, please don't drive.
If you're ever near Durango, Colorado, you will find a road to the sky. Where 100 years ago, men searched for the gold and silver they saw there. There are over 4 million miles of roads in Alamo territory, all across America. And every day, with every car nationwide, only Alamo gives you all those miles for free, including a 70-mile stretch along Route 550 in Colorado that takes you right up to the sky.
For one boy about to become a man, the price of respect was freedom.
Then finally made it to the big time.
Betrayal.
Santana, watch your back.
Revenge.
You'll regret the day you make that choice.
Innocence.
Well, your business kills kids, man.
The price of respect was everything. From director Edward James Olmos, American Me, rated R, starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by Dutch Boy, the official paint sponsor of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Spectrum, where the Knicks lead the 76ers 63-44. Minute and a half gone by in the third. Barkley rejected by Ewing. Shot clock at 3. Shackelford with a handoff to Barkley, and he claims he was forced out, but Wally Rooney says no, he stepped out.
I think Charles is on his best behavior tonight. I would expect a longer argument from him on that.
Here's Oakley on a pick and roll, and then try to get it to Wilkins. We just received word that Jeff Ruland has had it the rest of the way. He will not play. The Achilles tendon problem is acting up. Barkley backing and draws the double team, and also an illegal defense called on the Knicks.
It is their first of the game. Sixers will inbound from the side court.
So the 76ers get the new 24. Here's Gilliam. Knicks lead it 63-46. The Knicks have been very effective on the transition. This time the Sixers able to get back, but they've caught Philadelphia on several occasions. McDaniel. Hawkins. Percy Hawkins has been quiet. Only 6 points for Hawkins, only 4 for Dawkins.
One of the remarkable statistics of the first half was turnovers. Each team had a total of 3.
Xavier McDaniel has 10 points. The Knicks 65 and the 76ers 48. Jackson over to double team. Dawkins run into by Oakley. Dawkins claiming that he was in the act.
Personal foul, Charles Oakley, his second, team first.
So Dawkins pummeled by Oakley, and it is a non-shooting foul.
Correction, Marv, on that turnover total, it's 7 for the Knicks and 7 for Philadelphia in the first half.
Here comes Jackson. Sixers able to get back. Oakley. Four minutes gone by in the third. Dawkins. And the Sixers continue to have their shooting problems.
What a discrepancy in field goal percentage. The Knicks at 60% and the Sixers at 40.
Wilkins set up beautifully by Jackson.
One of the many problems of the Sixers is that they do not have a shot blocker, a real intimidator. Shackelford has a total of 46 in 54 games. He's their best. After Ball, that is, who hardly plays.
It counts, and the foul. So Hersey Hawkins will go to the line.
Hersey Hawkins getting into the flow a bit more now. Very tough move inside. Hersey's one of the game's outstanding outside shooters, but the improvement in his game is measured by his ability to put the ball on the floor and succeed. He showed the Knicks a tough move.
Foul called on Ewing. 3 on Ewing.
Talking to Fred Carter about Hawkins before the game, he said, we just would like to see him hungrier. He said he's the kind of guy that can go home after 4 shots in a game, and he said wouldn't bother him. And he's such a good offensive player. He should take many more shots.
Yes, the coaching staff has felt that way about both Hawkins and Dawkins, that both have to be, as they express it, more assertive. Ewing, yes, and it counts. Barkley pleads his case, but he's called for the foul. That's 2 on Barkley.
Team first.
Barkley a little slow to react to Ewing's takeoff, though. And he feels there was no contact. And it certainly didn't look like much.
Ewing 8 for 9 for 22 points. It's the Knicks 70 and the 76ers 51. The Knicks hoping to avenge the poor performance here back on the 22nd of January when they lost 119-109. Greg Grant left in the first half with that ankle sprain. Back on the floor. Grant and Hawkins down the backcourt. Barkley with Gilliam and Shackelford up front. And the foul called on Jackson. He tried to draw it.
He raced over to double team Charles, and he ended up bouncing off him. Mark sensing he can steal the ball.
'76ers come off the loss yesterday afternoon here at home to the Bulls. They had won 3 straight prior to that defeat. Tipped home by Shackelford. The 3 straight wins over Dallas, Atlanta, and Washington. Before that, they were blown out by Charlotte, 136-84. That's the game that featured the scrap between Jason Williams, J.R. Reed, and the foul is called.
Very costly scrap, too. Jason suspended for 2 games and fined $10,000. What people many times fail to realize is a suspension of 2 games costs you the equivalent of a game's pay, and in his case it was 2 out of 82 he loses in addition to the $10,000.
That's a rare miss by Ewing. Oakley able to hustle it down and save it. Knicks lead by 17 halfway through the third. 76er players were steamed about some of the sarcasm that came from the Charlotte Hornets, with the Hornets blowing out the Sixers. Ewing, yes. Knicks lead by 19. Charles Barkley was upset with J.R. Reed, who was apparently mouthing off, and Barkley felt, how can this club, the Charlotte Hornets, that has struggled, although they have played well recently, how can they make statements in a blowout of the Sixers? What right do they have to talk trash? Here's a look at the melee first between Barkley and Reed, and then from out of nowhere, Jason Williams went right at J.R. Reed and tried to hammer him with a right hand, and that led to the fine and the suspension.
Well, not only did that fine and suspension cost Jason, but he lost an additional 2 games. He hasn't played in the following games, the last 2 games, and he hasn't played thus far tonight. So there's a message being given out by the coach Jim Lynam to Jason Williams.
And for a spell, he was in the starting lineup. Jason Williams in his 2nd year out of St. John's. Feeling was that Jim Lynam was trying to protect Charles Shackelford from being introduced as a starter. He was hearing the boos from the crowd. Nice save by McDaniel on that errant pass. And the boos during the course of the introductions were getting Shackelford down even more. Shackelford has played well tonight. Wilkins strip. Grant gets it down. It's a 3-on-1. Here's Barkley, and he blew the layup. Jackson with the look away, and Wilkins will regroup.
Well, Patrick Ewing's presence distracted Barkley, and Xavier McDaniel hits from the deep corner.
X-Man has 12. The Knicks lead 74-55. They've maintained the extensive lead here in the third. Barkley, a power move by Barkley. He has 17.
Amazing. 2 bigger men, Oakley and Ewing, couldn't stop him.
4:20 remaining in the third quarter. Jackson backing Grant. Grant getting help now from Hawkins. Oakley from McDaniel.
As usual, Charles goes to hit the defender and then thinks about the shot.
And both he and Barkley end up on the floor. Hawkins not able to hit.
Charles pleading again for a foul call on that play as he struggles to get back up.
Pat Riley takes a timeout with 3:52 remaining in the third.
Still with it. Burning.
how to party right. Please use good sense when you drink and know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser.
John Starks back on the floor for the Knicks, replacing Gerald Wilkins. McDaniel off the rebound. Knicks lead 76-57. McDaniel has 14. Ewing, the high man, with 25. The Knicks shooting at a 60% clip most of the way.
They're 8 out of 14 here in the third quarter.
3:20 left in the third. Shackelford had the baseline closed off. Nice look, though. And Grant able to take advantage. What a strong all-around game for Shackelford. He's 5 for 5 from the field, 11 points, 6 rebounds. Just under 3 minutes to go in the third. Starks, he has been open right throughout the game, and the Knicks have been able to find him. 4 for 4, 10 points for Starks.
John Starks, one of the very few to get good marks in the last Knicks visit here.
Jackson with the steal. Hawkins got it back. Anderson. Ewing got a piece of it. The official at midcourt, Jess Kersey, blowing the whistle. Had that not gone in, it would have been a goaltend.
That poor team performance by the Knicks in late January. Starks had 24 and 8 out of 12 from the field, plus 7 out of 10 from the line.
The Knicks lead by 17. Jackson. It counts. And the foul. Mark Jackson with a strong drive.
Mark Jackson getting by the speedy Greg Grant. Actually not by him, but he made him go back and gave him so much room, and nobody comes over to put their hand up to stop Mark, who's delighted with his move.
This is one of the better combination games for the Knicks point guards. Mark Jackson and Greg Anthony both have played exceptionally well. Grant called for that foul. Jackson has hit 4 of 5 from the field. He has 9 points along with 8 assists. And the Knicks have opened up a 20-point lead. 2:20 to go in the third. Greg Anthony getting set to report back in. Good pressure by the Knicks. Anderson.
Tough shot on the run. Jump shot. No backboard. Just rim.
And a foul. So Anderson will go to the line. McDaniel picks up the foul, his third. And here's Anthony. And Greg Anthony comes on for Mark Jackson. So it's Anthony and Starks now in the backcourt. They played well in the second quarter. Ewing sitting down now as Oakley is on the floor with Mason and McDaniel. So Patrick Ewing departs. It has been another strong game for Ewing, coming off the dominating effort against Charlotte on Saturday night. Anthony, yes. 10 points for Anthony on 4 out of 6 from the field.
Plus he had 5 assists in the first half.
Last touch by Oakley. Kiki Vandeweghe makes his return. Vandeweghe with 14 minutes in the first half and played well. 3 out of 5, 8 points. Hit 1 from downtown. McDaniel replaced by Vandeweghe. McDaniel with 14 points. Minute 35 to go in the third. Here's Barkley. And the foul.
Boy, Charles Oakley was not prepared for Barkley's deceptive dribble from right hand to left hand. Now he goes left, and Barkley looking quick as he sails in for that basket.
19 points for Barkley. Comes off a 29-point game against Chicago, spending much time on the line yesterday. 13 for 15 from the free throw line. The Knicks now lead 83-66. Starks. Anderson with the rebound. We come up on 1 minute left in the third quarter. Grant Pretty feed for Hawkins. Good play by Mason to break it up. Anderson will throw in. Barkley played by Oakley. Grant. Barkley had a notion to go from 3, and then he's fouled by Oakley. That's the second charge to Oakley. The 76ers coming with a record of 29-32. They're third in the Atlantic. Game and a half in front of Miami, 2 in front of the Nets. They are battling to qualify for the playoffs, and they are in the midst of a 6-game homestand. This is game 3 of that stand. Wednesday they are here for Indiana. Then Friday they wrap it up against Phoenix.
Well, the big change for the Knicks tonight from their prior visit, now with the expansion of the NBA and the Atlantic Division, these teams only meet 4 times during the season. So in their prior visit, the Knicks started out the game missing 12 of their first 16 shots. And what a different story tonight in the way that they have shot the basketball. It just set an entirely different tone for the Knicks against the Sixers.
Anthony. And Anthony again.
Oh! Adjusting the jump shot with tall people in front of him.
12 points for Greg Anthony. He's 5 for 8 from the field, and the Knicks now lead 85-68. 25 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Hawkins blocked by Starks. Vandaway ahead of the field. Knicks lead 87-68. 5 seconds in the quarter. Grant for Shackelford, who's fouled.
Personal foul, Charles Oakley.
Greg Anthony a moment ago on that jump shot follows that in. You don't see that very often. Then under great pressure, he presents an entirely different looking jump shot. Only the great shooters can do that once in a while. Now we know Greg is not a great shooter, but he has been responding much better lately at the offensive end of the court.
Yes, his shooting has picked up recently. Shackelford is 1 for 4 from the line. And the Knicks take a timeout with 3 8/10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Obviously a clinical timeout with the Knicks up 87-68. So when we come back, Shackelford will be back at the line. We're talking about the 76ers vying for a playoff spot. Here's a look at the Eastern Conference standings with the 76ers at 29-32 right now in a tie for 6th, 7th, and 8th. 8th, the final playoff qualifying slot, and then Miami, Milwaukee, and New Jersey also gunning for those last playoff positions.
Well, that West Coast trip bothered New Jersey, that's for sure, but they will be back and alive. They have shown they can play high quality basketball. The Bucks seem to be slipping badly, and I don't think we can count out Miami. They've had a very fine season, certainly the best of the expansion teams, and they have good young players who have been delivering throughout most of the season.
It's Jeff Rulin who's sitting it out, bothered by the Achilles tendon, and will not return, as we mentioned earlier.
The sad part for Ruland is his contract this year is based on games played.
Well, tomorrow night the Knicks are back at Madison Square Garden facing the Los Angeles Lakers. That will be an 8 o'clock start. Knick game night at 7:30. Lakers coming off the loss at home yesterday to the Detroit Pistons, and they are a struggling ball club. Lakers now without James Worthy, who will not make the trip, I'm told, because of the knee problem. Pat Riley hoping to avenge the loss at the Forum back on the 26th of February, one of the low moments of the season for the Knicks, who scored only 68 points, their lowest total since the inception of the 24-second clock. One of those nights, the players felt they were, didn't come out right away, but they felt they were very tight, that they were affected by trying too hard. Anthony fires to end this third quarter, and they tightened up. They were trying so hard with Pat Riley making his return to the Forum in Englewood. So they will have a chance to make up for it tomorrow night.
Moving in on top, Casey Waite scores! Oh, what a play! There's just a word, and there's no mistake in it.
Hello, Joe. What do you know?
All right, let's sample a bottle. I'll make it two. One for you and one for me.
Now we get wrong. Diet Coke.
First time we met, I thought he's cute. I see him on campus, and we talk. Then he asked me to this party on Saturday. It was a good party. But after he'd been drinking a while, he was out of control. And people are looking at me like, you're with this guy? I had someone else drive me home.
Years of GMC truck experience has created an unexpected luxury vehicle. Jimmy SLT. It blends a new soft ride suspension and comfortable leather trim seating with push-button four-wheel drive and the security of four-wheel anti-lock brakes, all standard. And now, SLT offers you even more. GMC truck, the strength of experience.
See your New York, New Jersey GMC truck dealer today.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by Mobile and new advanced formula Mobile One, and by MetLife. Get Met, it pays.
Well, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the Knicks enjoying what looks like a comfortable lead of 87-68. This call to the bench is brought to you by New York Telephone, who reminds you the New York Telephone regional calling area is bigger than you think. And Jimmy Lina would like not to see the Knicks 33 bench points. John Starks and Greg Anthony combining to hurt this team as they enjoy a very substantial lead from the bench. The Knicks do.
The Knicks shooting 60% for the game as this fourth quarter gets underway. The Knicks 13 for 20 from the field in the third. Philly picked it up 11 for 19. This after a 16-point second quarter. Knicks breaking it open in the second, outscoring Philadelphia 32-16 in the second quarter.
Vandeweghe just did a nice job denying Ron Anderson's cut across the middle by beating him to position.
Illegal defense called for the second time on the Knicks. So the technical foul shot will be taken by Hersey Hawkins. Knicks 87, Philadelphia 69. The Knicks opening up this third quarter with Ewing, Vandeweghe, and Mason up front. Anthony and Starks in the backcourt. Grant and Hawkins at the guards. Gilliam up front with Anderson, and Jason Williams has come on for the first time. Grant from deep. So Greg Grant with the bucket, and the Knicks now lead 87-71. 6 points for Grant. Ewing being played by Williams. Patrick Ewing with 27 points.
Tough job for Jason Williams to deal with Ewing.
Ewing has hit 10 for 14 from the field. Hawkins able to shed Starks, then Starks with the recovery and deflects it out of bounds. John, have you made the adjustment that the benches now are on the other side of the court?
I've got it down now.
Here's Grant. And the Knicks now lead by 16. Knicks getting it down in a hurry, and the hold is called on Grant. Correction, it's Hawkins called for the foul. That's his second.
Patrick Ewing is enjoying a nice period, as are the Knicks, against teams that have struggled through much of the season, but he hasn't faced a real solid big man in a while. With Dallas, the Clippers, Charlotte, now tonight, tomorrow with the Lakers. So the right things are happening now for Patrick Ewing, because he is responding big to that advantage he has.
Well, there aren't too many, as you say, solid big men in the NBA these days. Ewing, at least at the center position, there is a hard core of the high-quality centers. Tomorrow against the Lakers, Patrick will be facing the likes of Sam Perkins and Eldon Campbell, Vlade Divac. And Vlade under normal conditions could be a problem, but he is still making it back from the back surgery. Foul called on Starks.
Lakers recently expressed great affection for Vlade. In fact, I believe the next day after the Knicks passed through there, he was rewarded with a very lucrative contract. So they're counting on him for much better times ahead.
Ewing called for the foul as fourth Gilliam to the free throw line. And reportedly, Vlade was considering a higher financial offer from a team in Spain, and decided that he wants to remain in Los Angeles, and was rewarded.
Are there $600 million network contracts in Spain?
Are you considering a move, John?
Well, that's what the NBA got in their last agreement with NBC, and sure, that helps teams.
Oh, you're talking about, I see, the big picture. I thought you were considering
making a move. No, I'm not, although I thought about it briefly. But.
Yes. Off the scramble, Starks kept it alive. Anthony and Starks able to keep it alive, and it will be 76er ball. Knicks now lead 91-75 with 9:20 to go in this fourth quarter. Mitchell Wiggins is back for the 76ers. So Grant and Wiggins in the backcourt. Gilliam, Williams, Anderson up front. Grant's
arms must be getting tired.
Gilliam on the follow. Knicks with a 14-point lead. Sixers cutting into that Knick lead that at one point was as many as 20, and the Knicks call for time.
Most guys kick back on the weekend. Jack on.
Frank, Vice President of Business Affairs for the Knicks, organized a road trip of 3 busloads of Knicks season ticket holders for the game tonight.
Starks is fouled. 8:53 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Knicks with a 91-77 lead. Jason Williams called for the foul. That will put John Starks on the line. Jason Williams sitting out the last 4 games, making it back here in the second half. 2 of those games by coach's decision. Jim Lynam did not use him, and 2 by virtue of the suspension for the fight with J.R. Reed. The Knicks by 16. And Charles Barkley sitting it out for an extended time. Anderson. Sixers have picked up the shooting, and the Knicks turn it over. Bad exchange between Anthony and Mason. A break for the Sixers. They'll inbound in their front court.
As far as you didn't jump on the opportunity to say a bad exchange between Anthony and Anthony.
No. And Gilliam is hit by Mason. That's number 5 on Mason. John, I know you are often confused, but you don't have to necessarily share that confusion with others.
It's a cutesy kind of thing, though, that you sometimes fall into the trap of. Oh.
And Anthony with the rebound. 13-point Nick lead. They've led by as many as 20. 8:20 remaining in this fourth quarter. Vandeweghe eluding Wiggins. Ewing from Starks.
Well, that just had to go in after all that nice unselfish passing by the Knicks.
31 for Patrick Ewing. He is game high, and he has done it right from the start. Wiggins. Knicks now lead 95-82. Ewing is at 12 of 16 from the field. The Knicks gunning for their 4th straight win, trying to make it 5 of the last 6. Anthony for 3. Apparently Patrick Ewing had some words in the direction of Jason Williams. And Ewing with the rejection. Mason for Vandeweghe. Back come the 76ers. Here's Mitchell Wiggins. Firing it high and wide. Charles Barkley sitting out for a long time.
Well, if they get around 10 points, which is a basket from now, I'm sure Charles will be back quickly.
Well, the Sixers have been chipping away. They've cut it to 13. Ewing off a double team. Rebounded by Gilliam. 6:40 to go in this fourth quarter. Anderson. Sixers very much alive. Are now within 11. Charles Oakley and Xavier McDaniel getting set to check back in. Fan of defense from the crowd. Ewing fouled by Williams.
He can't guard Patrick from behind.
Personal foul, Jason Williams, his second.
Patrick Ewing sensing some frustration in this game tonight with the much shorter Greg Grant chipping away at him.
Patrick Ewing shooting 2.
Patrick Ewing with about as consistent a game as you could hope for. He has not missed 2 in a row from the field. He's 12 for 16. He began at 5 for 5. And he has 33 points along with 11 rebounds.
He's hit his number, huh?
John, have you studied for this game, coming up with this type of information?
While I was driving you here tonight, Marv, I was also reading.
And I'm so happy that you did not mind that I was sitting in the back. Here's Jackson. And the Knicks now lead 99-84 with just under 6 minutes remaining in the fourth. Back pass, still in trouble, and here's Gerald. 3-on-2 Nick Gray. Wilkins shows it right and delivers it left.
Hi, I'm Ann Liguori, host of Sports Interview, the show that brings you in the living rooms of some of your favorite sports personalities. We're controversial at times.
I say that the rappers are taking risks because they reinvest and they speak up and they speak the truth.
Very serious at times.
If you can't skate, you can't play our sport. It's an art. And the image, though, is so negative because we allow fighting.
But we always learn a lot and have a great time doing it. So join me each week on Sports Interview.
Well, the rebounding advantage the Knicks are enjoying tonight isn't as great as it was against Charlotte, but Dutch Boy shows us it is fairly substantial. The Knicks once again winning the battle of the boards with the opposition.
Patrick Ewing, game high with 33 points in a terrific all-around performance, coming off the 20-point, 20-rebound game against Charlotte on Saturday. You mentioned the rebounding disparity the other night. The Knicks with a 75-35 advantage on the Charlotte Hornets, including a franchise record 52 defensive rebounds.
It's amazing also when you consider the average rebounding total for the Knicks this year is 45 a game.
Charles Barkley is back in with 5:45 remaining in the fourth. Anderson has caught fire after the slow start. He has 15. The Knicks lead at 99-86. The Knicks have led by as many as 20. Sixers showing some flashes here in the fourth after the horrendous shooting in the second and third quarters. Starks for three. Oakley had it poked away by Barkley. It will be Nick Ball.
Did you take a little smirk from Oakley as he fought off Charles Barkley's attempt?
Starks now played by Hawkins. Ewing. Oh, what a move by Patrick Ewing, who now is being played by Armin Gilliam. 35 for Ewing. Knicks 101 and the Sixers 86. Knicks go to the double team and Barkley forced it. Ewing over to help, and it led to the bad shot by Charles Barkley. It has been another overwhelming effort by Ewing.
Actually, Ewing is playing tonight, Marv, like a 3 and a 5. Shooting the ball like a small forward.
Xavier McDaniel with 16. He's had a strong one. Let's get back to that. He's playing like a 3 and a 5.
A 3 defined as a small forward or a shooting forward. Patrick's been effective from the perimeter as well as inside like a 5, which is a center. So we can call it an 8 overall.
Yeah. John, you're so clinical at times. Here's Hawkins. And the Knicks now lead 103-88. Just under 4 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Barkley trying to defend Ewing, and the foul is called. It is on Barkley, his third.
A lot of Knicks sharing in the success at the offensive end tonight. Ewing giving the ball up a lot. Xavier getting that nice pass from Mark Jackson. Has an ability to hang a bit. That's the way it looks anyway, to get rid of the defense.
McDaniel with 18 points.
Balance is so important to winning, and that's what the Knicks are getting plenty of tonight.
McDaniel 8 for 14 from the floor. The Knicks shooting just under 60% for the game. Greg Grant has 10 points. It's the Knicks 105, the 76ers 90. Xavier McDaniel has hit his last 5 field goal attempts. Again, it's Gilliam playing Ewing with some help. McDaniel, oh, he loves that spot. He's hit his last 6. He has 20 points, and the Knicks lead 107-90. A very impressive effort end to end by the New York Knicks here at the Spectrum. Grant for 3, and he is on fire.
Season high now, 13 for Greg Grant.
The Knicks 107, 76ers 93. 2 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Here's Barkley off the steal.
Oh, that's a move similar to Charlotte that ignited things a couple of games ago. Charles just giving up the situation and bang into the defender. I mean, he wasn't even going that fast. He didn't lose his balance. He knew what he was doing.
And it's an offensive foul on Barkley, who will now sit down. We come up on 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Kenny Payne has checked in for the first time. Payne, in his third year out of Louisville, has not been getting the playing time.
2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
The Knicks lead at 107-93. They have led most of the way. Hawkins setting up Gilliam. It is now a 12-point Knick lead. 15 for Gilliam. Minute 40 remaining in the fourth, as the Knicks look to make it 4 straight wins, 5 of the last 6, and they are gunning for win number 39. That would match their victory total for all of last season. Starks, good play by Hawkins, and Oakley is there to put it away. It's the Knicks 109, the Sixers 95. Gilliam called for the push. Offensive foul. Knicks will get it back. Now Patrick Ewing will sit down. Anthony Mason is back. A superb all-around performance by Ewing. 35 points on 13 for 18 from the field, 9 for 10 from the foul line, along with 11 rebounds. Here's Starks. So the Knicks lead 111-95. Just under 1 minute remaining in the fourth. Gilliam. And the Knicks now lead 111-97. Here's Starks breaking down. Grant. Pretty hesitation move by Greg Grant, who has 15.
Boy, what a show by Greg Grant. Given some time tonight, he's become Muggsy Bogues plus. More of an offensive threat than we see Muggsy execute.
And on a night that has seen the starting backcourt for the Sixers struggle, Grant has come up with a season high of 15. And that is called offensive interference. 11 seconds remaining in the fourth for the Knicks. An easy victory over the Sixers. You ever had a sense that they were in trouble, although Philadelphia had come up with a couple of runs here in the fourth quarter. This is Payne shooting one up. And that is it. The Knicks over the 76ers, 111-99. So they've taken 2 out of 3 this season against Philly. They are now 39-23. They've won 4 straight, 5 of the last 6. And they are now 3.5 over the second place Boston Celtics. Celtics not scheduled tonight. Our Evian player of the game is Patrick Ewing. No question about it. 35 points on 13 of 18 from the field. Patrick Ewing, the high man in the game, as the Knicks defeat the Sixers 111-99. We'll be back to recap in a moment.
For 1992, there's a snowmobile that has a powerful 190 horsepower.
Thank you, Bob. The Knicks over the Philadelphia 76ers here at the Spectrum by the score of 111-95. 4 straight wins for the Knicks, and they were sparked by this man, Patrick Ewing. 13 of 18 from the field, and he had 35 points. Patrick Ewing doing it right from the start. Had a strong first half, and was able to continue on in the second half. A look at the leading scorer summary, which is brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers, Advantage Jeep and Eagle. Ewing with 35. Xavier McDaniel, 9 for 15, hit his last 6 and finished with 20. 14 for John Starks. Very strong shooting performance by the Knicks. Starks was 5 for 9. Anthony, 5 for 10. Vandeweghe hit 4 out of 7. Mark Jackson 5 for 6 for 11 points. While the 76ers were led by Charles Barkley, who was not a factor tonight. 6 for 14, 21 points, only 5 rebounds. Armin Gilliam with 17. Ron Anderson came on late, 7 out of 12 for his 15. Greg Grant, 7 for 9 from the field. He had 15. And an off night for Hawkins, who had 12. Shackelford had 11. The Knicks with the win here in Philadelphia. We'll be right back.
Forget the limits of ordinary basketball. You've entered the Nike Flight Dimension. Examine, if you will, Scottie Pippen, about to discover the power of his flight shoes in a time warp. And so, history gets a lesson in the Flight Dimension.
Son, you could make hundreds of dollars a year in professional basketball.
If your face were square, shaving would be simple. If your
Just play good containment defense. When he gets into a scoring area, then double him and try to make him kick it. And what happened was in that second quarter, those guys started missing shots. And when they started missing shots, we got the ball out. We made some layouts, and we ran an offense, and Pat Ewing just got hot on him in that second quarter, and that's what enabled us to get the big lead.
Playing against Charles Barkley is interesting. Of course, he's so tough, but yet it seems at some points he tunes out of games, and he looked like he did for several minutes of tonight's game. Does he lose his concentration, do you think?
Well, I can't say, because sometimes when you're a superstar and teams are doubling you all the time and the ball's out of your hand and you're denying him the basketball to make sure he doesn't get it back, and other guys are taking the shot, if they don't hit it, then that makes it even more tougher for him. That gives us the opportunity, hey, we can double every time now. And when we played them here the last time, they hit the shots. Tonight, they didn't hit the shots. And, you know, it's the same defensive scheme we had before. It's just the fact that they missed the shots tonight.
Meanwhile, during the Knicks' 4-game winning streak now, it appears that the team is working harder for longer periods of the game on defense. Has that been a main focus since the West Coast trip?
Well, I think anytime, you know, people say that, you know, about defense. I tell you, I don't think it's our defense that cost us games on the West Coast swing. It was basically our offense. So it wasn't like teams scoring 120, 110. They were scoring 90, but we were scoring 70. So what we have to do is hit our shots and just continue to play defense the way we've been playing. And when we got teams down, just knock them out. Tonight we gave them a little bit of life, but we hung in there and you know, we got some big baskets.
Could this be a revenge week for the team, Xavier, with tonight, of course, Philadelphia? You got them after that terribly disappointing last visit here. Then you have the Lakers tomorrow and then the Nets on Saturday. Is this a chance to strike back?
Well, there's a chance to get another win. I think sometimes you take things too personal, they can backfire on. Just go out and play and just play as hard as we can. And when we do those things, concentrate on defense, trying to shut teams down to 80 and 90 points, then we got an excellent chance of winning.
Okay, Xavier, thank you for visiting with us. Excellent all-around game, and your many fans, I'm sure, are hoping that your hot hands continue.
I hope so, too. All right.
Xavier McDaniel, one of the many stars tonight for the Knicks. Now let's go back to Marv Albert.
All right, John, and the Knicks have held the opposition under 100 points in 11 of the last 14 games. Most impressive figure. We'll be right back.
Give me the news without the...
The Knicks have defeated the Philadelphia 76ers 111-99. Most unusual stat here, 34 assists, high number of assists for the Knicks tonight. Only 18 for Philadelphia. Just want to bring that to you, John, as we lead to the dunk of the game, which is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud. And here it is. It'll be John Starks with the stuff off the steal.
Nice lead pass to John, giving him plenty of time to show his showmanship on the Budweiser dunk of the game.
And we'll be back to take a look at some more close-up statistics in just a moment. Back at the Spectrum, where the Knicks knocked off the Sixers 111-99. As we check out the stats within the stats, John, we note that Mark Jackson hit 5 out of 6 from the field, 11 points, also 11 assists. You might call it a double-double.
Certainly the prettiest assist of the game for Mark Jackson on that last move to Gerald Wilkins.
Mentioned the high number of assists, 34 in all. Anthony with 7, Jackson 11. Look at that Knick shooting at 60% on 45 for 75. While Philadelphia ended up 40 out of 82. I guess that's about, what, 49%?
Sounds good. But the foul shooting is remarkable for the Knicks tonight. One of their better nights, if not their best of the season, 20 out of 23.
And once again, the Knicks did have the edge off the boards, 40-32, led by Oakley and Ewing. They each had 11 rebounds. So the Knicks with a solid performance here in Philadelphia. Well, the Knicks are headed back to Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. They face the Los Angeles Lakers, and it will get underway on the MSG network starting at 7:30 with Knick game night. John, note that 8 o'clock start tomorrow night. The Knicks and the Lakers, as the Knicks hope to make up for the poor performance at the Forum a week and a half ago. That the return of Pat Riley to Los Angeles, and it turned out to be a very long night for the Knicks.
Yes, I can't imagine anything near like that will take place at the Garden tomorrow night, but they're certainly in a very good frame of mind right now at this winning streak, and they have to be feeling very good. And Pat Riley somehow got this team motivated in this very difficult part of the season now, as Pat cited between games 60 and 80. You might remember, Marv.
Yes, I do.
Very tough time. Actually, it might have been 40 to 60, I think Pat defined. Something around the playoffs.
We'll check it out a little bit later on. And as you said, and I thought coining a phrase, revenge week for the Knicks, although the X-Man wisely scoffed at it. Revenge week with the Nets coming up on Saturday, preceded by the Knicks and the Lakers tomorrow night.
He also made a very insightful response, too, when he said sometimes if you let those distractions get in your way, you don't play as well. Very mature analysis by Xavier.
Are you now analyzing the interview? Is this what you're doing, taking his answers? And
well, I'm complimenting him. It shows you that I listen to his answers. Very important part of it.
We'll listen. Enough of this, John. We'll be back in just a moment.
Gather round. Sports Center has a coach's message for you.
You know, it's funny, guys. We know at this point what we got to do.
For the Irish, they have to get a win, get over 500 to try and get a bid.
Something special is happening to this group of guys.
That's called Championship Week. 4 more automatic bids to the big dance.
Let's push the ball up the floor, Charles. I mean, let's go.
Sir Charles facing off with the media, and Barkley then faces the Knicks.
Like every day's a milestone.
For Bo, would Monday be a milestone, his last day in a baseball uniform?
And we do everything as one. We rebound, we defend, we move the ball, we score, we do everything. And in the end, fellas, we'll be champions together. That's what this night's about, guys. So let's go and get it. Come on,
Manhattan coach Steve Rapp is taking over on our honors for the night. Welcome to the show along with Tom Mees. This is Mike Tirico. 4 more automatic bids to the big dance doled out Monday night. Well, the celebrations ahead. Also, Notre Dame, the Irish, Needing a win to get over 500, would they join the party? Answers ahead. We'll start with the night in the NBA.
And we'll start with the night in the NBA off the floor first before we get on the floor. You know, they call Dominique Wilkins the human highlight reel. Maybe they should call Charles Barkley the human quote. Sir Charles, the Philadelphia 76ers All-Star, who is never at a loss for words or opinions, made the papers and the news wires again Monday. After his coach, Jim Lynam, called a Barkley three-point attempt against Chicago on Sunday ill-advised, Barkley ripped Philly writers who questioned his judgment. Here's an excerpt of what Charles Barkley said, and I quote, "I'm a 90s nigger. Everything I do is wrong. They want their black athletes to be Uncle Toms. I told you, white boys, you've never heard of a 90s nigger. We do what we want to do," unquote. Monday at a Sixers shoot-around before the evening's game of the Knicks, Sir Charles was anything but apologetic for his remarks.
No, I made a statement. I stick by those.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
No, I said I think one of the reasons the media has been on me all year, and they have been on all media, because I'm a strong black man.
Well, things as usual at the Spectrum Monday night. Charles, all smiles, 11 points in the first quarter, but he had some help from 5'7" Greg Grant. Talk about Mutt and Jeff. Look at that. Greg Grant and the X-Man. Get him a chair. Sixers by one after one. The Knicks take over after Greg Grant puts a rainbow over Patrick Ewing. Here come the Knicks. Greg Anthony with the steal from Johnny Dawkins. Hits John Starks. Look at the elevation. With about 2 steps, he really gets up high. Knicks continuing in the third. Mark Jackson with a no-look pass. Beautiful to Gerald Wilkins for the layup. The Knicks 87-68. Barkley didn't finish the night on a good note. Sir Charles going to go in for the slam dunk. No points in the fourth quarter. Jason Williams bummed out. He's still smarting from that $10,000 fine. Patrick Ewing not bummed out. Swish. Ewing 35 points. He shot 13 of 18 from the field. Yeah, you can't do anything about it, Jeff Rulin. The Knicks shot 60%, and they have held the opposition below 100 points in their last 6 games and 11 times in the last 14. And when you do that, you are winning.